Hi, everybody. Good Monday to you. Matt Noyes from 1 Degree Outside Weather Network, 1degreeoutside.com. Did you ever wonder how deer got on the island of Nantucket? Well, that's the first thing in today's Noyes Notes. Is back in 1922, on this day, June 3rd, it was a fisherman who rescued a buck that was exhausted swimming around Nantucket Sound. Brought that buck back to the island of Nantucket, released it there. I said, now, wait a minute, that's only half the equation, right? Yeah, you're right. If you want to find out how the first doe ended up in Nantucket in 1926, you can do the research on that, or I'll share that in another Noyes Notes. But nonetheless, that was the first time that the species made it onto the island of Nantucket. A little bit of New England legend for you right there. All right, meanwhile, the tree pollen is starting to ease steadily. There's still some oak and some pine that's out there. An isolated shower is a possibility for us Tuesday in particular. Somebody may see one today on Monday. We'll highlight that in a second, but there's a much better chance of showers on Thursday and Friday. Overview on the map today. Take a look at the difference between, let's say, Eastport, Maine at 60, right? And then when you get into parts of western New England or upstate New York that are rising above 80 degrees today, there's a backdoor cold front. Danielle told you about this in our evening essentials video on Sunday evening. It's a cold front that comes in from the north and east. So I've kind of reversed the order of the high temperature maps. Normally I start in southern New England, but really I figured let's start out at the Canadian provinces because this is where some of the cooler air is coming in. Showers making it at times into eastern Maine, having a hard time to make it in for the rest of us. And notice you don't get into that backdoor cold front until much, much later in someplace like Vermont, the upper valley. So this is where we find temperatures that still break 80 degrees today. But it's a big difference as you make your way to the Maine coastline in particular, where the wind starts to come in out of the east. And that'll be the case at the New Hampshire seacoast as well, versus, let's say, the Monadnock region, southern Vermont. And the same thing plays out in southern New England as well. You see the Mass New Hampshire border region very different from Plum Island, for example, as it is along the Route 2 corridor. That continues down to the Boston area. You're very quick to turn the wind out of the east around Boston and the eastern Mass coastline today, but that backdoor front very slow to move farther inland. You will notice the change in air farther inland as we get to the late day and early evening hours as that cold front kind of arrives and pushes through for you. In terms of any shower chances, there's not a lot of that. Notice as we get through midday today, still going to be a shower in Washington County and eastern Maine. What's interesting is as we start to back some of that cool air in, the clouds begin filling in through a lot of Maine. This is the map by 5 p.m. this evening. And watch what happens, let's say, between 5, where you see an isolated shower or storm developing out of the mountains. So when you get around western Maine, let me go forward to about 8. Notice there's still a couple of isolated showers that try and crop up, even come into the Route 16 corridor as well. Probably don't make it much farther south and west than that during the overnight. As we go to a partly to mostly cloudy sky, most of the clouds found east and temperatures generally that are running in the 50s for overnight lows. The air will have been changed, and tomorrow will be a decidedly cooler day for a lot of us. Near the coastline, it'll probably be pretty similar. That's how things look for now. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you with insights looking at the next few days coming up in just a little bit.